Hello and welcome to today's video. This is a step-by-step Facebook ads dynamic remarketing for beginners tutorial in 2025. This is for Shopify e-commerce entrepreneurs and business owners. So let's get straight into it. There's a few slides. The slides will be down below. You get them and use them as you see fit. I give the instructions and links. Just do with it as you sort of see fit. The whole point of this is to sort of teach you quickly and easily. This video will probably be about 15-20 minutes. I will be going through a few key areas as well that we'll go throughout the video. So let's jump into the first part of this. So the step one is the essentials, right? There's a few things that are really important, need to talk about, right? In order for this to work, make sure you have an active Shopify account. If you don't, go make a Shopify account. Make sure that you have your Facebook and Instagram sales channel connected in Shopify. I will show you that. You can get a link for it there. That's the Shopify App Store. Again, none of these are referral links, just use them. It's a free app. There you go. If you don't have a business manager, a Facebook business manager, or a Meta business manager, I'm used to calling it Facebook, you can just use that link there, follow the steps, create a business manager. It'll guide you through the process, okay? Don't need to go through that today. Make sure you have a Facebook page, a Facebook ad account as well, and your billing information. Very important you set up time zone in your time zone. So even if for me here in Australia, I'm marketing to the United States, I set it up here because otherwise the time zone will be wrong, because you want to set, when you run campaigns, always at midnight, and at midnight on the ad account time zone, right? So don't worry about the fact that if you're marketing to America, that might not be their time zone in terms of that. It runs on 24/7. It's just for your reporting and analytics. It's really, really important to keep that in mind and keep that in check. Otherwise it will confuse you. I've had that many times and I've had many issues with that historically. Make sure you have your Facebook page and Instagram profile also created. Very important to set them up. You can set them up. You can set up pages in your business manager. With Instagram, you usually do it on Instagram itself and then integrate it in. I'll go into that very briefly. Make sure you set that up. Set up the accounts. As I said, they're free. Add your logo, your business information, background on Facebook. Make it real, right? Spend a bit of time, half an hour doing that, because in theory you'll only be doing that once. If you haven't done it, obviously a lot of people that are watching this have already done that as well. Make sure you have your Facebook pixel created as well. When you use the sales channel on Shopify, it will create the pixel for you. So you can do it manually, or the easy way is honestly just to do it via the Facebook sales channel, which is what I'll sort of show you today. There really isn't much to it. You need these things set up, otherwise you won't be able to integrate the sales channel, right? So hence why we go through these essential parts. Now let's go into our Shopify tested account so that I can show you a bit more in detail about it so that you can understand it further. All right, so I wanted to show you guys just an ad account that I've been using this exact strategy on for the DPA campaign. I call it DPA, Dynamic Product Ads. On Facebook now, they call it something different. They call it Catalog Ads Plus or something. It's the exact same thing, but it's just obviously, you know, sort of embracing now that sort of AI trend and hype. You can see here the cost per purchase is very low. These are both remarketing campaigns. One remarketing campaign is a static remarketing campaign and one is the dynamic remarketing. This is the dynamic remarketing. Okay, this is in AUD as the currency. And you can see here, you know, spend $1,000 for 7,600 back. Now, that number will only continue to grow throughout the month. If I look at the last 30 days, you know, you can see 3,000 for 20,000, right? With an average of 5.84 ROAS. Now, this campaign is completely hands-off. What I mean by that is that I barely touch it. I do tests, but I've just found that when I get to this, that the strategy I use to just leave it broad, it just works so damn well, right? And for brands with a lot of SKUs and stuff, now if you're running a one product store, this won't really work that well for you, but if you're a brand, then this will work exceptionally well for you, and literally you set it and forget. Oh, I want to be perfectly honest, for people, you know, with running agencies, a lot of them with brands will be just running this simple campaign. They might be changing some variables. I'm not saying it's the exact same, but honestly, there isn't much to it, right? So I just wanted to sort of show you that. Let's go back into it now and let's talk about the steps that you need to achieve this. All right, so you can see I'm in my Shopify demo store. I just use it for these videos, as many of you know. So you go start setup here, and you just follow these setups. You connect your Facebook account, so this is where you would connect your account, and then you have things like your business assets and your terms and conditions. Follow those steps. That's all you need to do, right? In most cases, you'll have one ad account, one page, one Facebook page, one Instagram page, and you basically just, set them all up. I'll give you a bit of a rundown. Let me connect my account now, and let's go a little bit further in depth to give you that bit of understanding to make sure this is done right, because you want to get your attribution done correctly. All right, so I've connected my Facebook account, and you can see a number of business profiles here. All you pretty much do is you choose the ones, see how it picks up Facebook and Instagram, connect, accept the terms and conditions, go through the review. Once that's done, usually it's within a few hours, then you go to the next step, and it'll basically allow you to then to integrate your pixel and push your catalog, right? Pushing the products to the shop is the first step of the SKUs, right? So it's pretty much all there is. It's very straightforward. It pretty much does most of the work for you. You just need these pages and the business manager and that setup, hence why I went through those essentials first, right? So you can see I've made some test pages and that in the past, and it picks up all of them. So it'll pick up everything in your account. So just be mindful of that, of course, but 99% of the cases for all of you, this really shouldn't be a problem. Let's go in. All right, so step number 2 is managing your catalog, right? So now there's what's called in Facebook, there's the Commerce Manager. It's gone under a number of things, Catalog Manager, Commerce Manager, it doesn't matter. I'll show you how to find it in the Ads Manager. I still struggle with it myself, so I'm not gonna lie. But you check there for things like errors, troubleshooting issues. So at times I've had it where I run a DPA campaign, but none of my products, because all my products are disapproved for some bizarre reason, maybe something isn't connected, it has happened, right? So with the integration, it's very rare, but I always like to teach this just so you know if you need to troubleshoot where and how to go, right? Just some important things. You also might want to break down your catalog into different subcatalogs where you might be doing different remarketing campaigns, or you can also run what's called catalog cold traffic ads as well, which work very well for brands with a lot of SKUs too, right? So the good thing with catalog ads is they show across pretty much all mediums of placements, hence why it also works so well. It's dynamic, it's very personal experience. That's why it works so well and why I wanted to make this updated video. As I said, we're going through up to point 3. I always check my Commerce Manager once a month. Honestly, that's all you really need to do. Spend 2 minutes, check it. There'll always be a couple of errors, okay? So don't be stressed if there's a couple of errors, but if you're seeing a lot of errors, that's when you need to start to investigate and understand why. The good thing with the Shopify and Facebook integration is that it is very seamless. It is ironed out. It was very buggy initially, but now it's like it works extremely well. So very rarely do you have much to do there. So there's not much call for alarm, but I always like to give tips so that if there is an alarm bell, you know what to do for the most part, right? Now I would recommend getting these slides so you have that as that little reminder. Make sure your catalog is also bound to your ad account. So you might have 4 different ad accounts and 4 different catalogs for different businesses. You want to make sure you're using the right catalog, because you don't want to be cross-promoting your different brands. That would confuse your consumers and customers, so you do not want to do that. I'm going to show you how to do a few of these things now. Let's go into the Ads Manager and let's talk about this further. All right, so I'm in my test business manager that I use for these videos, right? And so usually what I do is once you're in your business manager, you go settings, and then you've got all these different options. Most of these you don't need to worry. You can integrate your make sure you integrate your Instagram account here. You've got your ad account and your pages, which is Facebook pages. So you integrate those, as I've sort of said earlier. The integration with the Facebook one will do again a lot of that, but make sure that you can always check these things here. Really isn't a problem, right? So let's go into the catalog. So under data sources, you've got catalogs. Okay. Once you make a pixel, you can see your pixels there too. And you can see I've got multiple catalogs. I haven't renamed them. I haven't, again, for testing purposes, not needed to. But what then do is go open in Ecommerce Manager so you can get an in-depth understanding of what's going on with this catalog. So you can see that I've connected this catalog of products. And the cool thing is you can see each individual SKU, and then you can click each individual SKU and you can see added by Shopify. You can see the It's the cool thing with the integration. You click it, it takes you directly to that product, the description, in stock, all the information pretty much pulled from Shopify via the API will be pushed here, and this automatically updates. So any changes you make, it'll just automatically update. So it's very hands-off. Right, so you've got things like your data sources, which is your pixel, okay, which is the platforms you're integrated with. Sorry, I got that confused. Events is your pixel. This is where you can have, various pixels. So make sure you ideally only have one pixel. That is the pixel of your business bound to it, so that you can get the data and use that data and then do the dynamic remarketing. If you don't have that, you can set up your campaign, but if it has no data, it's not going to spend anything because it needs that historical data, hence why it's a remarketing campaign for that. You can also see your shops, so which is your Facebook and Instagram. You can actually see your products there and manage them there as well. So again, I haven't set that up. And then you've got your settings. Okay, so this is where you can get an in-depth, closer look at various things. You've got your general catalog, the catalog name. You can rename it. I'd recommend renaming it. I'm not going to for this exercise. And just have a look at these. If you want to delete it, you can delete it. It won't delete the products on your store. You could, if you wanted to start fresh. But under events is where you will check for the errors that I've sort of said, and sets is where you might want to make different sets of that. So right now there's 272 items, 1.3K variants. I might want to make a new set using usually filters, right? So you might have different collections, tags, and you might want to make that for different campaigns, okay? So that's pretty much really it. Most people don't use, as you can see, I don't all that much, truthfully, but there is, for those who want to go more granular and more specific, obviously go nuts. So it's really important that sort of add that in so that sort of know. Now let's get into the final step, which is actually creating the campaign and showing you sort of how that works. All right, so step 3 is creating and managing the dynamic remarketing campaign. So again, I know I could just go straight into the steps, but I like to give these slides as well because I know some people just prefer to have a quick look at the slides than a 10-15 minute video. It just might save you a bit of time. So here's the part, as number 2 is, it is stupidly easy. It took me 5 minutes to do that campaign, and I just do very basic modifications. Really is, in my eyes, it's like the equivalent of running a Google shopping campaign through Google Performance Max campaigns. So easy, so hands-off, right? Things have come so far, it really is just that simple, right? So the steps are, create campaign, manual, catalogs, ads plus, basically is what it's called. Click next, choose catalog, choose your pixel, make sure your country is set to worldwide. You don't have to, if let's say you're in the United States, or let's say you're in Australia and your customers are only in Australia, not a problem. But again, it really just depends on where you're marketing to and what countries you can ship to. So obviously that decision lies with you, but it's important. I've had that issue where my campaigns have not been spending, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I actually see, because I'm from Australia, that it defaults to Australia, okay? Whereas my consumer traffic was actually US, so I didn't have any traffic from Australia. Or US, it's like, well, I don't have any US data, so to remarket to Australian data, so I'm not going to spend. As soon as I changed that and just made it worldwide, boom, spend within 5 minutes, okay? So very important that you do that. Do it from the beginning. If you make that mistake, I would suggest you duplicate it, set it for the next business night, because then it'll optimize from midnight onwards, and it just spreads the budget properly, right? When I said that example before, it spent like all my budget in 3 hours because I didn't notice until 9 o'clock at night, right? So because it always spends on a 24-hour going at midnight. So very important little tip there. I leave age, gender fully open, again, because it's remarketing and it does so well, leave it open. A lot of the time I would say remove 18 to 24, but no, leave it open. This campaign just performs so exceptionally well. Make sure your look back window is 30 days, VC, which stands for view content, add ATC, add to cart, I find works best. And you can make multiple dynamic remarketing campaigns, but honestly, I've done, right, so where I've done 1 day, 3 days, 7 day, 14 day, 30 day, where you segment it. But it really, with good business practice, it just keep it simple, right? Just a simple reminder for people. Make sure it's 7 day click is the attribution window, and make sure at the ad set level, no, come back 50% off, none of that. Just, did you forget something? come back and complete your order now. And maybe the only urgency you might want to add is complete your order now before stock runs out. That's it. That's the copy. There is no secret to it. That's literally the type of copy I run for any brand, because the products are all dynamic and you just keep the text general. So without further ado, let's go into. So first and foremost, ignore this because it's a test thing. I just haven't added it. As you can see, I've done a number of campaigns. We're just going to go create. We go sales. We go continue. I go manual. My preference, each to their own, but I just go manual. Give it a campaign name. Usually what I call it is dynamic remarketing campaign. Simple as that. Because you only do one ad set and all of that really is all you need to do. So objective is sales, and make sure you then do this and then choose your catalog. When you choose the catalog, you'll see the products. So you can just double check, right? Daily budget. Obviously this depends on you, right? I personally leave it at $25, but again, in the beginning, a minimum of $10 would be where you want it to be. And as your business grows and as traffic grows, increase it incrementally. The rule of thumb generally I've found is that if you're spending $100 on cold traffic ads, 20% also will be remarketing. Okay, so $20, $80 cold, $20 remarketing, and you would want to factor this in. Okay, so that's just generally the rule of thumb when it comes to this. All these other settings, leave that as is. Then we go to the ad set level. This is where you set the settings for who you're targeting. Dynamic remarketing. You don't want to do that. You go maximum number of conversions because we're e-commerce. Obviously, that's very important. They'll default to purchase. You'll see your catalog. You want to set it to midnight the next day based on your ad account time zone. So that's what I mean by why it was important to teach you those essentials. Don't leave that. And then you can see how you got this prospect. So that's cold, and we're going to do remarketing today. So with an advantage audience. So it always recommends this to automatically find the audiences. So that's basically cold, but we're just doing remarketing today. All you do, change that to 30. So this is what I mean. You've got a number of variables here. Added to cart, not purchased, upsell products, cross-sell. So upsell would work well for existing customers as well as cross-sell existing customers. Add to cart, not purchased, you have to have a lot of add to carts but not purchased, right? That would be the only other time you have to have a significant amount of traffic for that. In the beginning, viewer added to cart but not purchased, fine. If you're scaling, you're doing really well, you want to try it, by all means try it. But if you don't have enough add to carts in the beginning, it'll barely spend, right? Logically, that just won't spend. Custom audience, leave that blank. Now the other part is I wanted to show more options. Leave age open, gender open, and advanced targeting, you want to leave that open. See how it's defaulted to Australia? Okay, because I'm from Australia. So make sure that I personally just go worldwide. Literally, I'll just take out Australia and I'll just type in worldwide. Okay, and once that's done, it'll just target, because your cold campaigns and that will be most likely targeted to a specific country. That really shouldn't be a problem. However, if it is, choose those specific countries even down to the regions. Entirely up to you, but those are just important things. The other thing is leave the beneficiary placements, leave that open as well. I think that was, I always like to double check it. Yep. Perfect, and then we just go next, and then I literally just call it dynamic remarketing ad. So you can see it connects your pages. Because you've done that, make sure you choose the right pages. You can see a preview of it. For many of you who are familiar with Facebook ads and all of that, it's the exact same, just a slightly different campaign. I leave it as carousel, destination, advantage plus. Your website URL is always your homepage, is what I strongly recommend. Display, don't worry about that. Mobile, don't worry about that. Leave it as multiple products. Leave it as single image. So creating a loop video for each card. Now I've tried that and I just find image just works fine, honestly. Leave the headline. The headline is the product name. You just want to change the primary text. Hey there, forget something? Return now to complete your order before stock runs out. Simple. Now it's going to give you a number of recommendations, but see like alert, warning, stock alert, you don't want that. Just basic for this. It just works really, really well. Right? I find for brands, especially people building brands and that, this works well. You don't want to push. You want people to love your business. And simple as that, you just leave it as that. Shop now is the obvious shop now call to action. Honestly, and make sure website events and choose the pixel so it uses the pixel. It's the only other thing. That's it. Click publish. It'll publish. It'll get approved usually within a couple of hours. Ignore that again. And then it'll start spinning. And that's basically how you run a dynamic remarketing campaign in 2025 for with using Shopify and Facebook ads. Works wonders. And as you set this up, you can easily just scale it up. You can duplicate it. It's the exact same process. It's the easiest campaign. You barely even have to do anything with the creative, right? One of the hard parts is the creative. This takes that out entirely. So I hope that has been helpful. Again, the slides are in the description below. Other than that, thank you very much for your time. Have a lovely day. Take care and goodbye.